In today's video, we're deep diving into what it actually takes to pull off 1v3s in Apex Legends. I'm going to let you all in on some techniques that really good players don't want you to know. Otherwise, they won't be too successful in being able to pull them off themselves. And I know, some of you are probably thinking, dude, I can barely win a 1v1, forget about a 1v3. And while I know what you mean, I just want you to know that this video is really for anyone who wants to up their game. Because it's not just some basic video. We're going to analyze a bunch of my 1v3 clips, and if you watch until the end, you will start to see the game from a different perspective. At least that's my goal. There are a lot of factors that play huge roles in being able to pull off 1v3s, but they also apply to just about every fight you'll get into in Apex Legends. So let's talk about the 4 biggest factors you need to have going in your favor in order to pull off any heavily disadvantaged fight. Number 1, isolation. Number 2, time to heal. Number 3, game sense. And number 4, distractions. In order for you to have these factors on your side, well, that is going to be the hardest part. Sometimes it just won't be possible. And I know you see your favorite content creators on Twitch or YouTube pull these off frequently, and it seems like they do it in every fight, but I can assure you that that's not the case. Because of course, with a YouTube video, you're seeing the select fights that went well, but you usually don't see them die the 20 times before that. And that's because they couldn't possibly get any of those 4 factors going for them on their side. If there's one thing I want you guys to understand, it's just that 1v3ing, simply put, is not something that is possible every fight. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to practice these principles in just about all of your engagements. One of the most important factors about winning in this clip was prompting my teammate to find out how many enemies were on the roof with them. I knew that my Octane teammate was busy fighting the horizon, so if I could get to the roof and possibly isolate 1 out of the 2 up there, well, that would have been my key to winning the fight. And that's exactly what I did do. I knocked the crypto without taking any damage, then I could turn my focus to the Pathfinder. And I knew the horizon was pretty far because I was keeping in mind where the Octane was on the minimap. He died pretty far away. I thirsted both of them to negate the time to heal. If we armor swap, we're speeding up that process. And by the time we had thirsted both of them, I knew taking out the last one would be the easiest part. Some of the biggest differences between ranked and pubs is that in ranked, you rarely get the isolation you need. And the isolation you do get is only for a few seconds. So let's take a look at this clip. It is a high tier diamond lobby. We have a great position by holding this house, but this team is going to look to rotate this way. They are going to take this fight. That is the nature of players in these lobbies. The goal here is to not take a lot of damage, but my teammate gets swung on by multiple opponents. So I throw a few grenades, hoping to buy some space and time. My teammate gets chased by the Wraith. I have a brief moment of isolation versus the Bloodhound, and then I turn to the Octane. It looks like my grenades did do some damage to him, but I have to land some big shots. I know the Wraith will be coming to follow up, so I have to armor swap. That is key. That mitigates the time to heal. But as you can see, big shots here, but brief moments of isolation, and that is the key to winning 1v3s. We all know in Apex that the time to kill is lengthy, so you will never be able to take out multiple people at once if they are all full armor and health. The factor of time to heal is often coupled with this isolation factor, because you could get a brief 1v1 and win it, but then you generally need time and space to heal up. If you don't get that, it's probably going to be GG's. When you fight pre-made teams, aka 3 stacks, this aspect makes pulling off these types of fights even more difficult, because oftentimes they are communicating with one another, and they're holding each other's hands and playing close to one another. If you are lucky to play off damage that your teammates dealt before getting knocked, it can make these situations more bearable. But if you're just in a straight up 1v3, there is no possible way to win it without the isolation of your opponents, like I got in this clip here. So why am I making such a big point on this? Well, now you guys should be sizing up fights when you find yourself in these disadvantaged scenarios. Can I take out these guys one by one? And if I can't, do I have to reposition and try to wait for my time to shine? This topic is relevant in so many games of Apex. You don't necessarily need to be no-filling trios to find yourself in these situations. You can easily be playing with teammates and they both go down, and just learning how to deal with the fight specifically will help make you a better player overall. Oftentimes players just run in when their teammates get knocked and they don't really consider any sort of strategy. So playing to your strengths and your advantages will certainly help you out in the future games that you go into. I often talk about game sense in my videos, but what does game sense really mean? Well, it boils down to experience and a firm understanding of whatever moment you find yourself in. Knowing how to react because you've been in that moment before, time and time again, helps build that game sense. Now, in a game like Apex, there could be dozens of variables that play a role in any given fight. But let's take a look at them specifically in this clip. My randoms and I were rotating late because, well, it was on Kings Canyon, and teams love to fight you in zone on Kings Canyon. I used my Caustic ultimate to isolate the lifeline from her Octane teammate. Now, it was clear to me going into this scenario, another team was playing the edge of circle, and that's who killed my 2 other teammates. So I know in order to push through, I probably have to take out the threat that's coming from behind me. Once I identify white armor on that guy, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna send it on them. I've got them beat in terms of being on red armor, and I'm able to pump out some big shots here. The only way I was able to take out both of them with how close in proximity they were to one another really centers around having a peacekeeper that's able to do a lot of damage. Predictions also tie into game sense, and ultimately one way you will improve this feature is by accurately predicting what your opponents will do and what they won't do. In this clip here, I'm able to down this lifeline without taking any damage, and I know our teammates will be heavily focused on me here shortly. So using my positioning here to block them one at a time is crucial. At the same point, I still need to predict when one of them will push me, so I need to output some damage and then transition my focus to the next guy. Obviously, I can only shoot one person at a time here, but you can see how seconds can make all of the difference in this fight. You should also always be considering line of sight coupled with the cover that you can currently utilize. In this clip here, that was probably the biggest reason I was able to pull off that 1v3. Let's discuss the 4th factor, distractions. Now, what do I mean by distractions? Well, generally it's the involvement of another team. See, having another team getting involved when you're stuck as a solo can actually be really beneficial to you, if you're positioned correctly, that is. You can use that other team for their damage dealing capabilities, and if you time your attack right, you may find some enemies who only need a few shots before they're going down. Distractions can also help you regain your composure, and you may be able to reset the fight with that distraction. This is really important here because you may need to reload your gun or both of them and top up on a shield cell too. Any moment of downtime where you can reset during fights can be vital for survival. Of course, distractions are a two-way street. I mean, how many times have you been fighting one team only for another to show up and then for whatever reason, both of them are focusing you all of a sudden? I swear, those are the worst times in Apex. Now, I will let you guys in on one of the biggest issues I see in coaching and while solo queuing with randoms. They get caught like a deer in the headlights. Making a decision during these moments is very important because if you stall too long or you're wishy-washy with that decision, it could be the big difference between you winning or you losing. If you make the wrong decision, that's okay. You should just do everything in your power to learn how you could have played it differently with everything you knew in that moment. Sometimes things just won't go your way, and that is just how the games will go. If anyone is interested in taking a further look at their gameplay, please consider checking out my Apex coaching. The Fiverr link in the description has got you covered. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll catch you on my next one. Peace.